Well, first, thank you so much for the question and the compliment. The most important thing for Loop to be able to come to Ireland is finding a cornerstone retailer, ideally the number one or number two grocer or general merchandise retailer in the country, to really fundamentally take charge and want to deploy in a very big way in the region. And why the retailer is the everything is because the retailer commits stores. They're the ones who then promote to brands and get the brands to then create reusable versions of their products, and then off the system goes. So what an individual can do to help us secure, the number one or number two retailer in the region is contact them. Share with them your thoughts on social media. If they post on LinkedIn or Instagram, mention that they should consider partnering with Loop. Those little comments really go a tremendously long way in allowing us to achieve these important partnerships, especially during COVID, which is really putting a lot of strain on the concept of innovation. I mean, imagine if you're a retailer just trying to keep products on shelf, innovation will fall to the back end. And so just making sure that they hear that it's important to the Irish public goes a very long way. First and foremost, I think product as a service is a wonderful and incredibly innovative circular solution. It allows us to dematerialize certain products. It allows, packaging to have a different form. It allows concentrates. It allows so many unique things to do that all reduce the strain on extracting natural resources and are fundamentally significantly more circular. The challenge for brands adopting this is it's a massive divergence, absolutely massive, from putting their stuff in a bottle and selling it. This is the entire challenge on reuse. In fact, reuse is in a way product as a service because the package is only borrowed and not owned and has to come back. And even just moving from a disposable pack to a reusable pack is a massive lift, and it's so different for brands. They have to think about designing packaging to come back, to be refillable, that it's safe and healthy to do that from a cleaning point of view. Just those changes are a big lift. So the more you push into product as a service, it is absolutely phenomenal and where we should be going. But just note, the more you ask a brand to change, the more uphill the climb will be and the more challenging. We're really excited about TerraCycle Diagnostics because it opens up a whole new way to elevate the idea of waste. By diagnosing residual samples on certain waste streams, like the fecal matter in a diaper or the residual mold and mildew in an air-conditioned filter, there is a huge opportunity to elevate waste, to actually teach us about our lives and how to live healthier lives. Next year, we're going to be launching MVPs, or minimal viable products, in TerraCycle Diagnostics and diapers and a number of other categories to prove out the consumer demand and the entire proposition. This will go live likely in the United States. And then from there, the goal is to grow it and really to make this a platform that is accessible to folks in Europe, the US, but also in many other regions around the world, and really focus on as much range as possible. Because we believe that perhaps the diagnostic results in your diaper may have something to do with the diagnostic results of your water, and may have to do with the diagnostics of your air, may even have to do with other diagnostics. And as you combine these different inputs, there could be incredibly rich learnings that folks can then see and can improve their lives with. When we think about migrating away from disposability, really reuse is the answer that we look at. It's the next step away from disposability. And in fact, there are three modalities or ways to experience reuse. One is exactly what the question describes, which is keep a bottle at home, like a forever bottle, and then access refill sachets or concentrate or some bulk method or concentrated method to fill that bottle at home. That's really like a hybrid of disposability and reusability. The bottle at home is reuse, and the way you fill it is a disposable mechanism. The second is refill stations, where you keep that bottle, but you take it to a store to refill. And then the third is Loop, where you return the bottle empty and dirty, and we clean it and refill it and sell it to a different consumer. And I think all three of these modalities are really important ways to effectively migrate away from disposability. And I think consumers will choose them based on what is convenient, what is affordable, and what products are available in these various modalities. It's a really good question. And I would say the way to think about the economics of disposable consumption versus reusable consumption in Loop is the following. In disposable consumption, whatever that package costs, let's say hypothetically 30 cents, that entire price is embedded into the price of your content as a cost of goods sold. In reuse, the package goes around over and over, so it's the depreciation of the package, the total cost of making it over the number of uses it can have, that goes into the price of your product, which will be a very small number, in addition to the cost of actually what we would call looping it, which is not just cleaning. It's getting it from the retailer, so we got to have a collection bin. We have to service that collection bin. It has to go to a distribution center where it's sorted, stored, and then cleaned, and then sent back to the manufacturer. Those are the overall net costs. Now, in the short term, the reusable model is much more expensive than the disposable model, because the disposable model is honed and efficient, and the reusable one is running at pilot scale. We have done intense modeling with McKinsey and a number of brands and retailers, and what we have found is that once we get to above, say, 40 to 50 million bottles running through a reuse network in any given region, it starts getting competitive with disposability, and then can absolutely economically compete once it is at that scale and bigger. And this is evidenced by, this is the entire beer industry of Canada. This is the entire beverage industry of Germany. So it does work at scale, but we have to get there. Now, cleaning is a component, but so is the operations of collecting the used packaging, sorting it, and storing it. And all that has to be compared to making a new bottle from scratch every time you fill that package. First, thank you for your question. We do, as TerraCycle, operate in Brazil and have been doing so proudly for now over 15 years with offices in Sao Paulo. In Brazil today, we're focused really on our recycling services, and we one day hope to bring Loop to the market. We will do so probably, if I had to guess, in say 2023, maybe 2024, and it's going to be very much connected to Loop's success overall in North America, Western Europe, and Asia. And then based on that, we will absolutely start prioritizing Latin American markets, with Mexico and Brazil being the next ones that we very much focus on. So laminated packaging or flexible packaging is not exciting to recyclers because it costs more to collect and process than the results are worth. So we get funding from retailers, from brands, from individuals, and other stakeholders who effectively cover the cost of collecting the waste and processing it versus what the results are worth. And with that funding, we can absolutely recycle multi-layer laminates, monolayer laminates. And the key here is basically taking this material, collecting it in some level of separation, shredding it, washing off residual content, and then pelletizing it or compounding it into a sellable material. Sometimes we separate the laminates into subcategories, sometimes we mix it all together, depending on what the buyers of the materials prefer. But in the end, the issue of plastic film is simply it costs more to collect and process than the results are worth, and there needs to be some funding mechanism to offset those costs to allow for recycling to occur. I think 3D printed packaging, biodegradable packaging, different materials like fiber moving into areas that have been historically dominated by alloys and glass is a very interesting concept. What is so important to me in saying whether this is a good idea or a bad idea is, first, does the waste management industry in that market that you're serving actually want these materials? Is this going to help make their waste stream more profitable to process or less profitable to process? So for example, in the world of beer, aluminum makes the waste stream more profitable to process. Aluminum is a welcome input for any recycler. It's very valuable. Plastics are medium. Fibers are on the low end, right? So it's important to look at that and whether the goal is that these are recycled and made into new fiber products or whether they're composted and made into soil, right? Usually composter economics are much more strained than recycling-based economics. And so it's really important to ask the question in the context of your local geography and whether adding this to the waste stream is going to be beneficial to the economics of the end-of-life managers or harmful to the net economics of these waste management companies. And that's how you can really tell if it's a good idea or a bad idea. And frankly, the answer may change country by country. Absolutely, products can be made circular no matter what the requirements. In Loop, for example, while we don't yet have like sex lubricants and other such things, we are doing OTC, over-the-counter products, vitamins, baby products like baby ointment, and you will see actually pharmaceutical packaging launching in Loop next year as well. So absolutely all the requirements of ingestibles, topicals, whether they are pharmaceutical and prescription-based or over-the-counter, can be done in reuse methods. And hopefully soon we'll have a company that wants to do sex lubricant. I think that'd be a wonderful concept to do in reuse.